Hi everyone, this is the AutoML training community meeting on 21st of April. Let me just start with sharing my screen. Okay, so the first thing that I really want to discuss regarding to the AutoML, do we actually want to update the docs with the new UI? Yeah, I'm not sure that Kamenos right now it's here, but maybe you can just give me like your thoughts. What do you think? Currently, the new UI is still it's not ready, and we will use the we will just use the old one for the Kubeflow 1.3. But there are like still the possibility to actually use the new UI in the manifest because we just provide the tutorial in the Katib README how we can use the new UI, which is super straightforward. You just simply update the image and you don't need to actually modify any sort of the YAML files or deployments. The question is like, currently we update the documentation only from the Katib repository side. What do you think, like, should we actually maybe move, because if you just take a look in the docs right now on the Kubeflow and under Katib, we do have some information regarding to the UI, which is, I think, here. No, okay, in the introduction, I believe. Yep. So in that case, we have some like information regarding to the old UI, but the question is like, is it like makes sense to put the like temporary information regarding to the new UI? It's maybe like question to the Josh you again, because like you're like more familiar how we'll just drive this feature with presentation and to the community. What do you think? Like, do we actually want to show it directly in the docs? Yep, Josh, if you're just speaking, you just mute again.
Yeah, I'll be better in about five minutes. Give me 5 minutes. I'll join from another.
Yeah, sure. Maybe any others like have any thoughts to the new UI? Because basically the question is like how user just, if it's better to actually search for the new features from the doc perspective or the like kubeflow.org perspective, or just searching in the README in our like Katib repository. Yeah, any comments? Because like it's very important that actually our users will test it because we can just check what like the parts maybe which we can improve. And this new UI will just again, it will just give you a better overview how you can use the HP tuning or NAS. So if you have any comments, please just let me know regarding to the documentation side. Okay. Yeah. Do you want to say something, Josh? I think Josh.
I was going to make a side comment. Okay. Sorry, somebody just called me. Like one of our business partners just called me. I had to run out of the room. Okay. No, the new UI looks nice, and you know it's obviously hyperparameter tuning is a challenge to use for new users. So I think a new UI, you know, is always helpful. Just a question I've had for a while now, and it's just a little tangential. When we say AutoML in the context of Kubeflow, are we talking specifically about hyperparameter tuning or like the broader AutoML?
Yeah, this is like the good question. And I think like the next step would be discussing about the roadmap. Yeah, because currently we're like super specific to HP optimization. Yeah, but I think in general, like what we're trying to build the AutoML platform on top of Kubernetes. So in general, we're not talking only about the HP tuning. And if it'll just go forward, I will just explain what our like the roadmaps thoughts, how we can improve it. But yeah, right now, currently it's like super early. But
yeah, well, that's okay. I mean, it's directional, it's aspirational. I just wanted to be kind of mentally clear as to where we're at today versus where we want to go. And I assumed, you'd want to have something like hyperparameter tuning plus, say, AutoCaris or something, but
Yep. Yeah, we can just also like take some good parts from other like AutoML frameworks, which is include like Finch engineering, kind of like model compression, and it's also can be like a part of the like our system. But again, we continue to have like a discussion how we can maybe reorganize the controller to make it possible to work on. Yep, but I think definitely in the new UI we will try to, because currently it supports only like HP tuning in the new UI, and we're like actually working to integrate like maybe the NAS part as well there to show the graph at least for the NAS. But yeah, this is like definitely will be the next step. So like maybe from the user perspective, do you think like it's better to actually test the new UI directly? Do you want to see that in the docs for the release? What do you think? This part,
I'm personally not sure what the best thing is. I haven't looked at it closely enough to make an informed opinion. There's a lot of work here, and like I don't want to be like, oh, you should do X when I haven't been right there with you doing that work. So it's just not fair to comment.
Okay, I think like we can just go forward, and when Josh like Bottom will come back, we'll discuss, because I just want to be inconsistent with other components, because like many components in 1.3 will just change the UI, capturing, for example, and volumes and all of them, and we really need to be consistent with other parts of the project.
Yeah, I would say in general, and I'm always the guy in these meetings, in any group, I always raise my hand, and the easier you can make it, the better. And I say that from the wars I went through with Hadoop, and they didn't make it easy enough a lot of times. And like Mongo was always stupid easy to use, and you look today, it's like Mongo is like a $23 billion company or whatever.
I definitely agree. Like we start, go ahead.
I would always say, like, if we can, the easier you can bring users on, the faster you grow user base. So that's always my. I'll say at the beginning of every meeting.
Yeah, but definitely like we on the same pattern with this, because once we try to implement like any new features, we just try to make it as easy as possible for the user, and because of that we try to actually avoid like using the cert manager, which is probably not the best way, but like one of the things can be simplify your infrastructure, and like building the API definitely would try to make it super easier. But yeah, this is like in our roadmap, which is like very important. Okay, should we like move forward, or Josh, do you want to, Josh Bottom?
So the new UI is part of 1.3. Is this part of 1.1?
Yeah, so 1.3 is currently not part of the official KTIP release. Okay. But the new UI is just the possibility to install it using the different image. That's it. So user just need to change the image in the manifest, and they can deploy the new UI. So that's it. They don't need to do any additional changes. Okay. But it's still not ready, because we're still the new UI still doesn't have all of the functionality from the current one. Yeah, because of that, we're not like pulling this directly to the manifest.
Is it in master right now?
It's like implementation is in master, and the image is also like built. But again, like to use it, user just need to modify the image name for the deployment. That's it.
So I think what we may want to do is put it in what's coming and make it as maybe an option for 1.3.1 or something, right? I know that Matthew did not like that idea of introducing new functionality in a release, but I'm not sure everyone else agrees with that in the community, because I think but I would leave it out for now, because unless it's fully documented or partially documented, right? Documented and also kind of complete, I wouldn't put it in right now into 1.3. I'd make it an option. I'd make people aware. I'd start to promote it. I think there's a lot of value to it. But when you say the new UI, is this the one that we've been like we have in the blog post, or is this the next updated one?
No, it's just directly what Kamenos recorded before. Yeah, this is the UI that we're developing during the 1.3.
Oh, yeah. Well, we've already got that in promoting that in the blog post. So then we'd have to take it out of the blog post.
So yeah, in that case, probably we can just update the documentation, like just say, okay, what's next, right? And just put like at least what we have in README. So in README, just a simple instruction how we can use it. And maybe just simply copy this to the kubeflow.org documentation as well.
Yeah, that I think that would be probably sufficient, and we should leave it in there. Otherwise, it kind of hurts our whole story that we were improving workflows and providing new. So yeah, I mean, the couple things that we wanted to do in this release was improve the ML workflows, improve the documentation, and this does both. If we deliver both of those, right?
Yeah, I agree. And again, like if you just delivering this in the blog post plus like presentations, I think it's very important because from the community perspective, I can see that the users, the core thing that they're searching is the docs. Like all of the information they're getting regarding to the components is from the kubeflow.org. And like usually they maybe not just going to just read the README, they can just go to the kubeflow.org and read all of the required information. Yeah, I think it's important to drive this maybe feature.
Yeah, I like it. We've done a lot of work on it. It adds value. People like it. It's a lot of eye candy. I would put it in there.
Okay. Yeah, we will try to do it as well before that. I think the release card is still not ready for the documentation, so we have like a few days to make it possible. Okay. Yeah, regarding to the CI/CD, I'm not sure that Yao is here, right? Yeah, because I really want to discuss how we want to move forward with the release process, and we're still like using the old like Kissenot implementation for Kadib, which is not very good because like for other projects we just migrate to Argo and or Tecton. So yeah, here the question is like. We definitely should just automate our release process. And currently, and I'm not sure, but like from my perspective, the whole like all components, I think I have a discussion with Yanis before, like all components should follow the same like release stages. It's probably not, at least not like release stages, maybe release process, because if you're talking about like making the same release for the different components for at least like Kubeflow 1.4, maybe it is better to have the same like structure of making the release. What do you think? I'm not sure like what is like the Kubeflow, because definitely we can't sing maybe with Kubeflow pipelines, but maybe with at least 4 other like components, maybe training or KF part, maybe we can synchronize with them. But this will be hard again, right?
Well, look, I think the direction is correct. I think if we can get the others to agree, or at least ask them to directionally move in that effort, that I think that all makes sense. They're all supposed to be independent components, and they can do what they want. But I think it makes sense early on to say, look, we're going to have a release 4 months from now, whatever. Try to map up your release process and your release numbers and everything that you can do to make similar and make it easier on the end user and the build process. We should do it.
Yep.
And here's some best practices. Here's some ideas from 2 or 3 other groups that are doing. Can we all try to kind of go in this direction? I think that makes sense. And I think we need to give that proposal out early on in the 1.4. There's a 1.4 planning doc that's starting soon.
Yeah, I agree. But again, like we'll face again with the problem that all working groups are driving different sort of the. I don't really know how to combine them to have the same direction, because currently, like all projects, they're not like in the same workflow and in the same way of thinking how we should drive the MLOps to our customers, right? Yeah, this is the big topic.
Well, where's the biggest gap, in your opinion? Where's the biggest gap that we could close?
I think first step might be thinking about the manifests. So at least we have the same structure of pushing manifest to the upstream. And I think I had a discussion with Yanis on that. And he also like agreed that probably definitely like manifest working group should have the mechanism to automatically update the upstream manifest to have like the same structure. And again, he also like agreed that we should have maybe the same structure of doing the manifest, so we will not confuse the user, right? So if user just wants to use only like TensorFlow operator and KF serving, they don't need to actually understand again how like does manifest work in the TF operator or in KF serving. This was like my thoughts before, and I think it is possible to make more like after our redesigning the manifest structure. It is possible to follow the same patterns in a different project. What do you think?
I don't know that I've studied it that much. I know I saw in the README that they provided installation patterns for each individual, but I think you're suggesting even advancements upon that. And
yeah, I think it's maybe we can discuss about it with the manifest working group as well, like after the release. So because they're like more familiar with the automation part. Okay, yeah, I think we can just move forward because like regarding to CI/CD, do you have any questions? Any other questions? What we want to make with the release?
Well, you gave an update on the top things in CATIB, right? In the release or AutoML, and I thought that was really good. And so,
thank you. Yeah, I think this is the.
Yeah, we should promote that and the roadmap too. I probably need to get your roadmap URL and put that in the doc as well if it's not there.
Yep. Yeah, I think like I tried to actually edit the one of the core features there, and like we don't have a lot of new features in 1.3 from KDE perspective. Like we're trying to, because we're like working hardly with the new UI implementation, also like with working with the webhooks, because this is like was the first requirements from our users that KDE before that didn't work with Kubernetes 1.18, which is not very good. Yep, and I think definitely like after roadmap, which I jumped after this, we can have like a better direction of what we want to deliver in 1.4. Yep, and speaking about the roadmap, so I think we can finalize it right now because I had a discussion before with people on the previous meeting, which is like Asia friendly, and they also like take a look on our things that we really want to deliver. And I think speaking about the AutoML, which like Josh mentioned before, I don't know if you had a chance to take a look on these features. Do you have any like comments, or maybe you want to see like what do exactly you want to see in Kubeflow specifically to AutoML maybe?
Sorry, I'm Googling what AutoMC actually is. I don't know.
Oh, it's like the model compression. So basically, just if you have a model, if you want to just push it on the device, you can just decrease the size of the model. Yep.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a challenge because, you know, if you ask 10 people today what AutoML is, you might get 10 different answers, you know, so it could go in a lot of different ways. Well, if it were me magically doing this, and I'm notably trailing the head of development, and I may misspeak here, but you want to make it as easy as possible to do this. And you know, you want users to be able to drop stuff in, you know, get AutoML going quickly and be able to track something. I think that what's that? What's the Spark one they use? I just did a report on it. Once
Spark
something sure. ML Flow. They do a really good job, like letting you see the workflows quickly. You know, and I don't know if Kubeflow metadata has caught up to that yet. I'm still kind of digging through it, but I've been comparing features back and forth, and that you know, that's my hope for Kubeflow as a whole, but also AutoML. If people are easily using it and they can like just very quickly see what they've done. And Josh Bottoms may want to course correct me here, but you know, I think that that's going to be a big bone to usability.
Okay. Josh, do you want to give any comments?
You know, I like both Josh's book and I like this other book that was done too, this Kubeflow book. Both books give good. One thing in this book, it talks that was done by Trevor, talks about the advantage of KubeCATIB over other frameworks. And it gives 4 reasons, right? Design catered to both user and admin.
Yep.
Cloud native design, scalable and portable and extensible. Now, when I look at the features that you have here, maybe these are all about extensibility.
Yeah, because actually, yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I think all of these features like scalability, portability is like coming because we're trying to build on top of the Kubernetes. So we're not trying to actually contribute in these kind of features. This is like the great advantages of the Kubeflow overall. But yeah, we definitely maybe should have more like experiments to show our customers that, okay, you were building like on top of Kubernetes, but you can see like this experiment, which is like the very the particular use case for the production, right? Because currently we still don't have some sort of the examples how we can use KDIP in production. So maybe yeah, this is also going to be the next step. I definitely agree. Because we're trying to, as I said, like we're trying to focus on extensibility, but so you think we should also more be focused on the scalability and like portability as well in our like roadmap?
I don't know that we have to. I'm just pointing out that you have those advantages when people look at other hyperparameter tuning tools or AutoML tools. You have those natural advantages. The one thing that I thought was interesting was this user versus admin support, where maybe some of the other products are looking more at user. I don't know if there's any admin features. I don't even know what those might be. I think all these extensibilities are good, but we need to find people in those communities that are going to use them, right? I mean, I'd like to find adopters.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And again, the next question is we don't want to implement the feature which we don't have the particular customer. And this is again, like we really need to hear the feedback. So from the surveys or from the summits or from anything.
I wonder what Josh thinks, because, you know, when I'm talking to a lot of people, hyperparameter tuning is kind of like phase 2 or phase 3 even.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we have a customer right now, a large bank, who is using KATIB, and like it wasn't easy to get them spun up, you know, and that's kind of why I'm hammering on and it's not a knock on Kubeflow, but it's the like if like we do these ML ops briefings, and it always comes up that if you go look at the third-party analysis of Kubeflow on the whole, Kubeflow always ranks low on ease of use, right?
What was like the hardest part, if you can maybe?
Kind of just getting started, you know. ML flow. Now, obviously, I'm a Kubeflow fan. ML flow just makes it so much easier. And I know this call is not really about like this, but this is top of my mind right now. Like working with KATIB recently with this customer, and you know, they were like, "How do we get started?" And I was kind of like, we've got to get there, and that's not an easy fix. And like I've looked at things like K3 AI, kind of making Kubeflow pipelines easier, command line, and a lot of their stuff is kind of busted too, or it's not busted, but in some platforms it doesn't work, you know. So like I see like on the admin side, because you know, Josh is right, it's great for users and admins, where ML flow doesn't really care about admins as much. the how do I say this? The Kubeflow is great at leveraging multi-tenant secure hardware. Like, you got a bunch of hardware, you want a lot of people to co-tenant use it. Kubernetes manages it, and Kubeflow does a great job of like putting the MLOps bits on top of that. What if AutoML comes in and it's like, okay, you've got a ton of hardware you could use. Let's say you've got DGXs or GPUs, what have you. Wouldn't it be great if you could very quickly stand up your AutoML job and really leverage that hardware real hardcore, and then you drop out, and the next user comes in, and then you can come back the next day and go, okay, these 50 runs went, this is the best one, I'm going to re-promote this, right? And you've got people coming in after, and very quickly, shooting off a whole bunch of jobs, variations of hyperparameter tuning or something like AutoCaris, and then as their jobs tail off with the scheduler, the next group of jobs come in from the other multi-tenant user. And I think, if we could get to there, and I've seen that happen, we did that with MapReduce. That's how MapReduce was, used. And this is very similar from a container standpoint. I think you'd see a lot more uptick, because you've got the Kubernetes part and the extensibility part, you've got that in spades. Now let's get more users using it. And I think if we can do that, and that is captured and visualized correctly, that will drive engagement.
Yeah, I think it's a good point. Maybe we can try to, if you say like it's hard to getting started, because it's like, again, it's hard to actually have the Kubernetes cluster. Maybe you can just maybe push some examples how you can getting started with KDIP on your local machine, just from the beginning, like from your training source code, how you can like tune your parameters using, for example, some kind clusters. You don't need to actually go to on-prem or on public cloud. Maybe it can also like simplify the process of like getting started with KDIP. What do you think?
Oh, funny you mentioned that. On my Mac, if you try to run like Kubeflow on your Mac, and I know that Erecto has like a VM, but some of the other kind of variations like micro K8s and stuff are broken. There's like all sorts of problems, and I've tried micro K8s, and it's just kind of like doing exactly what you're talking about to try things out for new users, to retest what's there. And we don't do the low-hanging fruit great. That's just a hard fact.
Yeah, and again, the cool thing that we really discussed before would be how we can avoid building these container images, because this is the great advantages which like Kubeflow pipeline has. You can just simply run your pipeline without dealing with Docker containers, which is really a pain point for a lot of data scientist teams. And if we have, if at least for KDIP, we can have a some sort of SDK where you can simply tune your parameters without dealing with Docker images. I think it's also can help.
I mean, I've got one customer. They have a system that builds containers for their users because they don't want to do that. And I think Google released a tool that does automated container builds. So I agree there.
Okay.
Container, like manually building containers, is something data scientists really shouldn't be involved in. It's a lot of them have built that skill just out of necessity because that's the stage we're in. But
can you please provide the link if you have any? Because like for the first time.
Where did I put that? I know I linked that somewhere. Bookmark manager.
Yeah, this is very interesting. I remember that we have fairing before, 1 year before, and currently we'll kindly maintain this project. But this is kind of really interesting if they have some sort of the tooling to automate the container building.
All right, look at this right here. This may or may not be it. I'm going to post it in the chat.
Yep, I just will put it in the docs.
Yeah, I mean, I think the discussion is right about making it easy. I think we also need to be clear about what the benefits are. I'm not sure everyone really understands.
I can just
what am I going to get out of deploying this and then running my model through it? How much work am I going to get versus how much benefit? right?
Mhm.
And I think there's plenty of examples where Katib and AutoML provide some very good return on investment.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, hyperparameter tuning is critical, as you're saying. And I think it's, I've used AutoML, personally, AutoKeras. We've also got a blog article we're going to put out on Ludwig, but AutoKeras, we do some research at the University of Michigan, and we had some time series data, and I don't know, I gave AutoKeras a shot, and it worked really well in terms of figuring out some of the LS, like I was using an LSTM and figuring out how to better, structure the layers, and that was really handy because I didn't have a ton of time, to manually run that myself. And it went and tried. You can kind of guide it through. My partners are pinging me. Partner drama. You can kind of guide it. Say, hey, like these sets of layers, change some things. These other stuff don't, change some things, and it, similar to Katib.
Yeah, I think a lot of like frameworks and TensorFlow and PyTorch, they also like providing the automatic build. The cool thing with them, you don't really need to dealing with everything from your like training code. So you have a training ready, you can just simply run their API, and that's it. So you don't need to like building the YAMLs, building the containers. And we definitely should move our direction with the same way, but with Kubernetes on the low level of that, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, this is definitely should be our next step. But go ahead.
It's just so hilariously, like, I find myself having a conversation recently, just like explaining to people how much stuff is in ML ops. And I know everybody on this call gets that, because that's you're definitely here because you get that. But I just don't think the world has any idea how much more stuff there is above a container, or like what KF serving is, or what it provides, or what Knative is, or all this stuff. So I mean, this is a really difficult thing to communicate document. Just
definitely. Okay, so moving forward, Frank, I saw that you just post the comment regarding to the TFX tuner. Do you want to like give any comments, or we just can?
TensorFlow TFX as a tuner.
Yeah, it's TFX tuner, I think.
You might need to do like, probably like here lately. I find myself doing these feature grids between different, like between SageMaker and all these different things. You might need to do like an AutoML like matrix, and like have all of the facets of AutoML, and then see all the different libraries and see what they offer. Because if you try to go after all of them, what are your goals with AutoML? Like Josh was saying, what are you going to get out of it? I think that's
yeah, I think the like regarding to the NAS, I can say that the goal would be this: you just giving the data set, it will just give you the state-of-the-art model like the Google Bizarre works. So basically, this is very important for the business, I think, because like you don't need to deal with a lot of like data scientist resources, right? So you just simply give the data set, and we just produce the model. The main problem with that Kubeflow currently, we don't have the model management, and we don't really have some sort of the how to communicate with the user regarding to the models. And I think there was some discussion regarding to the model management part, like MLMD as well, just going in that direction. Yeah, but definitely we want to have an integration with AutoML with this MLMD, because like NAS is super connecting to the model management. But still, do you think it will be valuable for the like our customers if we can do some sort of the work where we can produce the state-of-the-art models?
Is that a question to me or Josh?
No, you can just go ahead. It's fine.
So can you repeat the question?
Yeah, I mean like regarding to the note we were talking about, like are the AutoML features like NAS, because we really want to make a next step with that, to just extend the controller to produce the models, and to just, I don't know if you're like familiar with Google Visor, but basically you just give them the data set, and like the system just produce the model for you to just work on that data set.
I've seen that type of AutoML where it basically goes, time series. We're going to put an LSTM or a transformer on it, and then it does some fitting on the data, and then builds the model and just produces the model. And you're saying, even though it produces a model, we're not able to track the model properly yet, so it may get lost in the system. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like you don't need to spend time to actually produce the model by yourself, but the algorithm just, decides on their some sort of the search space or regarding the data sets.
I love the concept, because I've seen it. We've seen like stuff like Ludwig work really well.
Okay.
I don't know if that maps up exactly to NAS. There's a bunch of AutoML tools at this point, but this is more a question for Josh. Do we have is the model tracking metadata caught up enough so that we can visually see in the 1.3 what models are being produced by what runs, and you're able to visually search them? Is that in there yet, or is that still under consideration?
I've seen tracking, that has been more extensive. I don't know how well searching.
Yeah.
I see these references, but they're like, a GitHub or, like a get commit type of commit message that you have to track on, and you have to know what that goes back to. But I think that there's an effort underway to make all that better in the next few releases, to easier to use.
Is there a working call for like the metadata group that would, I'd assume that would handle that?
There was, and then it kind of fell apart. And then I've seen some demos that Ricto's been doing internally that have been quite fantastic lately.
Oh, cool.
So
well, I hope that feature gets committed, because based off what I've seen in ML Flow, it's a badly needed Kubeflow feature. But it would link, if NAS was spitting out models and they were automatically documented in the system, you could just be like, blink NAS, data set, hit NAS, models pop out, and you just say, I want that model, and you deploy it to cache serving. That would be an amazing workflow.
I think that's really cool. And Andre, I think part of this goes to, who are we trying to attract? And I think I think we have at least 3 or 4 different user groups.
Yep.
The people who are not ready, but we need to educate. There's probably the people that are getting close to being ready, and those might be like the Kubeflow pipelines people. People that are using pipelines extensively right now, and they're deploying models, but they're not, now they're starting to understand that they need to tune them. And your message to the people that are new versus the people that are mature could be different. And then the other one, like this AutoML stuff, which some of the data scientists may look as competitive to what they do. I don't know. I'm not saying this, but they might say, hey, that's what I do.
Yeah, this. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I hear what you're saying there, but I'm going to go tell you right now, the bottom third of probably modeling is going to get, like, all the major systems like Google Cloud, they have AutoML. That's going to get eaten up. It's like the next 2/3 up is where they're going to do their work. So they're going to move up the data science stack. So I think from that regard, data scientists are just going to have to adjust, because AutoML is not going away.
I guess the point is there's a messaging there that you need to just be aware of.
Yeah.
And you have to find the right, the benefit may not appeal to all data scientists right away. That's all I'm saying.
Yep. Yeah, there's definitely through like a lot of different target groups. But again, we can provide the platform where data scientists can work on the algorithms, which is actually help other people, like other companies, produce the models. But still, the work of data scientists definitely cannot be like, not only like writing the model. it can be also like writing the AutoML algorithms, right? So
you hit the nail on the head there, is that it may be that the consultants like AutoML better than the in-house data scientists in some way. I'm saying this, right? Because they want to try more models faster. But I think that the point is that you have to pick a segment, like the people that are very good already with deploying models and are experienced with pipelines. You may have questions or way to speak to them differently than the brand new guy or the person that's doing AutoML, right? And you just need to start hooking people in.
Yep.
And making it easy, as Josh says, for them to get started and see the benefit.
Yeah, definitely. Like, definitely we will try to focus on that. Yeah, I will try to just, yeah. The question is like, again, we need to hear like the voices, like again, like what Josh said. So the pain point was that it's hard to getting started. It's hard to just deploy the Kubernetes cluster. So we need to probably simplify the SDK, simplify the installation part.
Well, I mean, I don't think we had a hard time installing it. I think we had a hard time communicating what the users needed to do to use it.
Yep.
Yeah, that was the thing. You know, they were just like, what do we, how do we get started with this? And how do we modify our code? And to be fair, hyperparameter tuning is kind of very meta, for lack of a better term. It's a weird concept to understand, and so for new users, and then when you get used to it, you're like, okay, I get that. But
yeah, might be, but
yeah,
I think
I just think you want to be able to onboard. Our companies want to be able to onboard the easiest as possible, because it's a whole other ton of stuff to get going too, from a communication standpoint.
Okay. I think it's maybe to like, if you want to hear like more voices on that, maybe I will just create an issue in at least for Kedip, just ask users like what their pain point, what their pain points, and what I think can be like, can it help them to, like, as I said before, like maybe create a simple example how you can run it from your local, like from the local laptop without any huge clusters or public or private clouds. Yeah, but I mean, we can just continue the discussion there. Yeah, because yeah, this is like the endless discussion, I believe.
Where can you find a lot of mature users and ask them a pointed question? Like the pipelines, Slack channel, or the regular Slack channel, or somewhere where you could send pointed questions, multiple ones over the next few months.
I think we can, like, at least for now, use all of the resources that we do have. So like we have a group, we have the Slack, and because we don't have like a huge summits right now with the users, we want to organize one, but before that we need to finalize what, like, our roadmaps, and get the maybe the feedback at least for this roadmap, and maybe after this we can try to create some sort of the summit that we discussed with you before. To just prioritize maybe the tasks from this roadmap.
The micro there's a micro KF serving summit later this month, right? So maybe something along those lines. Oh, and are we going to talk about training today, or?
We have like 10 more minutes, so let's just quickly talk about. So regarding the training, UI timeline. So I think we can skip it. So yeah, regarding to the training, basically we have a lot of updates there. They're like still, we have like some sort of like miscommunication, because like the guys who just working on the training, they're not like actually making the releases, but there are like some work there is doing. And we had a presentation on the previous meeting regarding the pedal, which is basically one of the most popular framework in China to run training operators. And I really want to actually donate part of this project to Kubeflow community. So this is, let me just put it in the link again.
So I didn't put that in 1.3. Is that, was I right not to put that in 1.3? Because I didn't see a sponsor. But
yeah, currently I think why we do not put it in the 1.3 because like I think we still this proposal under review. So we still need to I believe see what is like the next step and who will actually I mean support it. And the next step also for the training operators, I don't know if you just check it, but we really want to merge all the training operators in the one code base to make it easier to maintain, because currently there are like a lot of repositories regarding to TensorFlow, PyTorch, MXNet, but they're all like using the same code base. And Joshin, I think, and Gauchi, they're really interesting. They're like all of our like leads team. We're like interesting to create the one sort of the repo where we can put all of the Kubeflow training operators source code. And for example, if we want to donate like if we want to create like new framework, this framework should follow the same patterns. So the same design patterns. Yeah, but again, like we really need to move forward with that. Yeah, because these processes might be some sort of like independent what's happening in Kubeflow overall, right? With the release process. But as like from the our customer point of view, I can see like the interest from the big companies on training operators, and they're actually using some of them in production, as I can see, at least like for TensorFlow or for NPI.
Yeah. So were there any updates to the training operators in 1.3?
I just asked Justin, and like I just asked our leaders about it. Yeah, I will just ping them in Slack again. There are like few updates, not like a huge one, but I definitely will ask to just add the information in the slides. Yep.
Okay. So more just like bug fixes or updates, minor updates, nothing. Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it might be some direction, but I will just double check on that. Yeah, we just need updates.
And is there are the docs out of date?
Yeah, regarding to the docs, actually, Terry, so Jan, I think he updated the NPI operator. So for TF operator in PyTorch, I don't think that we will make update right now, but the docs are pretty, like all of the users that actually, from the words that I just heard, they just follow the GitHub repo documentation and not just following the kubeflow.org, which is not very good because we should have one source of the truth. But overall, I think docs are ready for the operator. Let me just double check again. Yeah, MPI and MXNet should be actually updated. But anything that you really want to see in the training part from the Kubeflow perspective, from the user perspective, what do you think? What should we focus on?
That's a good question. That's a good question. What should we focus on for training?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, Josh, you just also want to discuss with about the training. Do you have any ideas, or like maybe you have a customer directly who just want to use training?
I'm going to harp on, I want better metadata management out of the training system. I want to be able to quickly see what happened, Okay. I think ML Flow's got a good tracking thing that we need to rip off.
Josh, did you look at the TensorBoard option that we have now in Kubeflow?
I haven't recently, because honestly, sometimes I'm very guilty of this. I get off in either marketing land or doing other things, and I don't always. I'll stand it up, tear it down, and then won't look at everything. I need to look at the TensorBoard and do I've done the ML Flow thing, and I need to go back and look at that. So I'm going to put a note down.
So there is a new TensorBoard UI that is intended to make it easy for you to look at training jobs, right, Andre? And
Yep.
so you easily spin it up and look at the bottlenecks and the performance.
Yeah.
Now
Does it let you see it across versions of models and workflows?
I don't know that I've seen that in the demo of it, but I've seen where you can look at a model and see it at performance and kind of dig down into it.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, TensorBoard has been there, and that's been good. I think it's more looking at how over time your workflow changes and the model changes, and being able to kind of go, 10 models back, that was the best one. What was that workflow? What was that version? What was that, data?
Do you want to see like an integration between like TensorBoard UI and TF operator, for example?
I'm going to stop short of saying something like that till I can speak more intelligently on the topic.
Okay.
As much as I think I study the system, there's just so many things I just don't know. There's a lot of components, even for somebody who looks at this stuff every day.
So we have a lot of different training operators, right?
Yep.
Is there any that we're missing?
Again, like currently there are like many frameworks which is coming from, which is like the new training operators, like for machine learning. Currently, almost all of them are similar, which is like using technology with actually like the workers and like with the partitioning. I think only MPI operator, they're like following the different patterns from the Kubeflow, and MPI actually following the already used technologies. And for the MPI, actually, we also have a proposal to the Kubernetes SIG wants to actually take this operator. Yeah, let me just open this proposal. Yeah, they still like preparing the because MPI it's not only for the ML. They want to maybe take this operator and just integrate this in the Kubernetes core. Yeah, so but this is like another story. What should we do with that? How we can make this project move forward. But any other operators, I don't think we need to focus on that right now. I think we should focus definitely on how we can make it standardized between different operators, between like the TF operator, PyTorch, and any other things. And again, like the question is, we want to make the central place to store all of the parts, maybe the central controller for them. It will be much easier for the user, I believe, to just manipulate between different training operators.
Okay, I think that all makes sense.
Yep. Okay, any other comments that you want to raise before? And maybe any other questions?
I guess just the docs on the training operator, those all you think are probably okay, and
yeah, regarding to docs, I will also ask people like on the Slack for the docs and for the updating the slides, but for the Kubeflow 1.3. Okay.
Okay. Yep. All right, that makes sense. I like both what you have there on the training. Okay.
Yep, and we will also maybe try to create the roadmap, but again, I really need to communicate with the other folks. What do they think? Okay, then. Yeah, let me just stop the recording. So